So a little inside baseball on this one. I was doing some research into the new CEO for Twitter, and I don't know, I got a bad feeling about this. Like, it just kind of seems like more of the same. New boss, same as the old boss. More things change, more they say the same. Any other cliches you'd like to fit in there. And then, of course, coming along the lines of women in charge of things, then it all just circles back round to Alyssa Heinischnite. And it's funny. Thought I would have seen this article before, but maybe it's because my search history's all been goofed up over the past month or so when it comes to Bud Light, and your guys is probably as well. You've probably seen a whole bunch of different creators across a whole bunch of different platforms that have chimed in on this topic. So I thought I'd clarify some stuff because, that's my thing. I like to add a bit more context and leave you with a couple of things to ponder on. So this article came out February 2nd of this year, and Bud Light signals a new era in marketing. A new era. Oh boy, they're so happy to bring Alyssa along the ride, and nobody would have thought that it would have ended. Well, you could have kind of figured, especially by her entry interview, how spectacularly it was going to end. You just didn't anticipate that end would come not but 10 weeks later. This came out February 2nd. She was already on her leave of absence by about mid-April. Bruh, come on. Alyssa Heinischnite is the first woman to take the helm and lead a Bud Light brand Anheuser Busch. Fantastic. The Super Bowl will kick off a new marketing era for Bud Light, and a woman is at the helm of this new direction. Great, wonderful. What are her qualifications? All right, she doesn't have any. Fantastic. Alyssa Heinischnite, Vice President of Marketing for Bud Light, is the first woman to ever lead the popular brand. And based on her performance, highly likely to be the last one. As the first woman to lead the biggest beer brand in the world, it's an amazing opportunity to really evolve and elevate Bud Light, this brand I love. Which is so funny to compare and contrast that with the other interview that has now become infamous, where she wanted to move Bud Light away from its fratty roots, its out-of-touch humor. She was happy back in early February to be working for the biggest beer brand in the world, evolve and elevate a brand that I really love. Do you though? Do you really? Because you look like much more of a box wine enthusiast. Bud Light commercial, which will air during the Super Bowl, features actor Miles Teller and wife Kaylee. Okay, and it's called Hold. Yes, Kaylee is facing a situation people everywhere do, being on hold on the phone. Oh my, it's so relatable, guys. Yuck. This campaign is meant to feel different. Just take a look at that screenshot. It's like fucking Zack Snyder directed a Bud Light commercial. It's so fucking dark and boring and dimly lit. Got a couple of relatively, I guess, famous-ish people. I think I recognize that Miles guy from somewhere. His face or side profile looks familiar. I don't know who his woman is. Good on him. She's reasonably attractive, but is the message to say, get drunk while you're waiting to place a phone call? Like, run more hack jokes into the ground, which we'll get to later. Who the fuck makes phone calls anymore? And complaining about being put on hold by somebody is only overshadowed by, trying to navigate through the AI in order to talk to a real person when you're trying to place a phone call to one of these big corporations. Ugh. But yes, this campaign is meant to feel different. Well, is it? But it feels different. Yes, this is what you get when you have a woman in charge. Oh, great. I can't wait for Twitter to just go back to normal. To be lighter and brighter. Take a look at that screenshot. Now, that might just be one screenshot, but this is Forbes after all, and they're going to be trying to put everything in proper context, and it's really critical. With a confidence and magnetism, and it's really critical to depict real people and real places. Quasi-famous people in real places, like a sprawling living room off the back of real places, real people. What I need to do to help this brand to evolve, this is my passion point. It's so great. I remember when people used to be, excited about the project that they were working on, saying how good the project is itself, not having to infuse their own opinions and their own passions into whatever they're doing. It used to be, we're really excited about this because it's good, not because it's my passion. You can see why this failed in real time. Heinischnite says Bud Light, as a brand, has been everything to everyone. Oh, really? And as a result, we've not been mindful about where it shows up. Oh, really? Really? Okay, now you start to care about where it starts to show up. It's supposed to be, it's everything for everybody. I love it. But also, yes, compare and contrast that with the interview that would come out a couple of months later where it's kind of too fratty and it's like out of touch and all that stuff. Who's the one who's out of touch now, bitch? Well, actually, you're out of a job. As a mother. Oh, yes, a mother. She had other people give birth to her kids, by the way. Never had a child that was naturally born by her. Had a bunch of surrogates out there, but she was out there being an independent boss babe. One strategic priority was to make sure that women were represented. I know why, because 80% of consumer choices are made by the women. 70% of the consumer debt is owned by women. It makes sense, okay? I don't need to pull out my ESG, my globalist agenda. It's like, it's really easy. Just follow the money, and that's why everything's marketed towards women, because they're more impressionable. That's not me throwing shade. That's just the fucking facts. Female representation is the personal passion point of mine. All of this stuff, all about her. This is why she got the job? Does she know where the bodies are buried? Something like that? That came out in the commercial, the Bud Light carry. Again, just very iconic campaigns, which depicting a female protagonist, because wow, very original. I'm glad that you did that. The first woman to ever be in beer commercials before. I like the old representation from the early 2000s and prior, who after buying her friends a round of beer, yeah, of course, because any of the other guys that are in the bar would either be inept, too brash, borderline abusers, or showing a woman being subservient to a guy who is far more likely to buy a round in the club. Like, what are we doing? But no, strong independent boss babe. Right. Yeah. So just drown your sorrows in alcohol, which now women are out drinking men. More on that in a video to come. Had to bring those glasses to her friends without spilling a drop. Oh my God, because we know how precious Bud Light is. It's the #1 selling beer, or at least it was. No, not so much. We had this awesome female lead. She's cool as hell, bobbing and weaving through the bar. Heinischnite said, fantastic. It's also funny. It's also funny to think, I need this female representation. Oh, it's really important to me. I have somebody else's daughters that I'm raising. We have this awesome female protagonist. You know what the next logical step is? Just getting a dude that's going to market all of our stuff. But yeah, we know how this ends, right? Like we can just hop in the DeLorean real quick. We can go from the beginning of February to the middle of May and realize that this has been a catastrophic failure. And Alyssa Heinischnite more than likely isn't going to be getting her job back when she comes back off of vacation. Who knows, though? June could be a spectacular fucking failure because there's a bunch of different marketing campaigns that are still in the queue, but anything could change. Anything can change. So, marketing guru behind the iconic Bud Light ad BLASTS self-inflicted, I was going to say gunshot wound, but hey, that's just metaphorically what happened for Bud Light. The Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. Yeah, man. No, 1,000%. Anheuser Busch's former chief creative officer, whose iconic ads include "I love you, man" commercials and the talking frogs. The Budweiser frogs. Yeah, of course. Blasted the company's Belgian parent InBev over Bud Light's Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. It took us 20 fucking years to take back Bud Light's beer to the #1 beer in the country, and it took them 1 week to dismantle it. Robert Lackey told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch this week Anheuser Busch has suffered from a complete lack of corporate oversight, and it has been that way since InBev took the company over. Those fucking creeps over there in Belgium stick to chocolate. Us Americans, we know fucking beer. Lackey, who now runs his own consulting firm in St. Louis, RCL Group, told the Post on Wednesday, it's pretty obvious InBev continues to fan the flames of their own with their defensive comments. Oh yeah, from the CEO of, what was that? Anheuser Busch America, and then the dork from corporate who was like, stop it with your mis and disinformation. We can't call you liars because that would be defamation, so shut up. He declined to comment further about the controversy. He's like, that shit, I wouldn't fucking do it. I just always picture these old guys who have good ideas as sitting around, or he might actually drink the product that he was advertising. Who knows, somebody who actually has investment more than their own personal feelings and attachment into the product that they're trying to market. Fucking wild concept, right? But he's just sitting back, smoking a cigar, just being as brash and braggadocious as possible. That's why they're out, and we get the likes of this fucking toofy goof. Yo, man, that's a Gina Davis level of, gums to teeth. That's a bad ratio. Hopefully she's getting that worked on her time off. The marketing guru created many of Anheuser-Busch's Super Bowl ad campaigns in the 90s and 2000s. Oh, the glory days. Just not from him, though. He's a woke dickhead. Including the spot in which the three frogs sit on a lily pad and croak out, Budweiser, Budweiser. I was too young, and I don't remember any of those commercials actually going to print, but that's such an iconic ad. Everybody knows it. Like, I don't drink beer. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink liquor. I don't do drugs or anything like that. I'm a totally boring individual, but I know about these marketing campaigns. Like, okay, Coors, the Silver Bullet, Miller. If everything else was taken off the shelf, of course, you'd go with Miller. It's Miller time, right? There you go. There's one campaign that they have. But Budweiser has a plethora of them. The Budweiser frogs. What's up? Of course, I know I've made reference to that a few different times. And now trannies on cans. Now that's going to be just as iconic, right? Lackey also spearheaded Bud's incessant "What's up" promo. Yo, this is that guy. Promo in the ad showing the company's famed Clydesdales and the Clydesdale stuff. Like, this guy was here since day one, and he put Budweiser on the map. If he's the guy who actually spitballed and created all of these ideas, he's that guy. He is that guy, and the only reason that he's not there is what exactly? In addition, Lackey served as Bud Light's brand manager during his 20-year tenure, producing the "I Love You Man" and "Real Men of Genius" campaigns. Kind of the predecessor to, what was that, Stella Artois. Still under the Anheuser-Busch umbrella, right? The world's most interesting man. It's kind of funny because that's another incredibly successful alcohol marketing campaign. The only thing that can come close to these iconic beer brands with their marketing schemes is kind of like Old Spice when they had that rejuvenation back when they had the black guy and then Terry Crews. I know that sounds redundant and it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but no, you know what I mean. You know what I mean from back in the day. But everything else when it comes to marketing, yo, man, beer brands are iconic, are absolutely iconic for the positive and for the negative. Well, unless you want to go with HIV status, then you just go ahead and reverse that. Lackey left Anheuser-Busch in 2009, 4 months into InBev's acquiring of the company, and began aggressive cost-cutting measures. Great, yeah, so everybody knows what Budweiser is. We don't need to market it anymore. That's why there really hasn't been any sort of campaigns that have really hit like that. Everything else has been from everybody else. Was that Stella Artois? No, that was Dos Equis. Fucking Christ. The most interesting man. I don't know who owns Dos Equis. I don't think that it's Anheuser-Busch, nor do I really care that much to just run it back. But at the time, Lackey said it was his decision to leave the company. Yeah, if you're getting creatively stifled and kind of just, hey man, everything's kind of run its course. He was there for 20 years. He was probably making a fairly good salary. He could take his ideas and he could go about the different companies that required his speciality and he could charge through the roof. Yeah, if everybody knew his name in those circles, I would believe this wasn't one of those. It was mutual. Well, in actuality, they said, we don't want you here and you can't come back. Okay, cool. So we'll just take that as a mutual dismissal. It's kind of like going on a leave of absence for an undetermined amount of time, right? Representatives for Anheuser-Busch didn't immediately respond, so they were too busy trying to put out fires. The Mulvaney controversy has prompted Anheuser-Busch to place two executives, Alyssa Heinischnite, the first woman ever to literally do beer since the beginning of time, right? Helm them for the new direction into the fucking ground, and the company's vice president of marketing for all of the mainstream brands, if I do recall, her boss, yikes, Daniel Blake, on leave. And yo, man, there's no need to get down. I said yo, man, no. You look at every other analyst, any other consultant in the alcohol industry, and they already know the writings on the wall. The stock downgrade, the repeated statements that are supposed to be apologies but aren't apologies, but we'll get back to you with an apology later. We just need to keep our name in the headlines right now. And now, well, of course, now it's starting to spill out, and guys, it was just an internet thing to begin with, but there's no need to take any of the violence to the streets like the couple up in Canada, which I'm still certain that there's far more to that story than meets the eye. But no. Hey, man, now things are going too far. Now it's starting to influence comedians and their stand-up. Oh, my God. You can't let that happen. Oh, my God. This transphobia and this bigotry. Won't somebody please think of the chicks with dicks? NYC comedian, it's Chrissie Mayr, by the way, okay, heckled. Group storms out over Dylan Mulvaney jokes. And I've seen the jokes. I've listened to the jokes. Chrissie Mayr is a female comedian, so you kind of already know my opinion on it. She's all right. Okay, for a female comedian, not that bad. Not that bad. She can hang around a table of some of the more seasoned veterans on the comedy scene, especially in New York City, and she's not bad. On podcasts, though, oof, nice old lady tits. That's about it. That's about what I'd say. Some of her takes on Twitter, oof, man, you would have thought that her brain and her common sense would have also stormed up and walked out. But a New York stand-up comedian triggered a Dallas audience. Dallas audience, of all fucking places. Okay, we'll get through this. Okay, audience when she made a joke about transgender dude Dylan Mulvaney for still having no tits. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. Where's this dude's tits? You've been taking estrogen and popping pills for all this time and you're still shaped like a fucking matchstick, just not as heavy? Like, where's the Hooters, my bro? Not like I'm pining to see them. I'm just saying there should be some progress here, okay? As somebody who likes to go to the gym, you track your progress. As somebody who's shooting up with a bunch of foreign hormones into your body, you should be seeing progress. You're going to go under the knife to make your face more round? Okay, cool. How about you go under the knife and really drive the deal home, if you know what I mean. But yes, the joke was Dylan Mulvaney still has no tits because he's a man, prompting the sensitive audience members to storm out. You're going to a comedy show, the fucking comedy show, where the act is going to be announced. Chrissie Mayr, I don't know, she might have been headlining this or at least hosting, okay? Like, her name would have been on the banner. Her name would have been on the marquee. And this is clearly better packed than, well, Dylan's shirt, but then also at the same time, like, there's some people who want to be there for Chrissy or whoever else is on the ballot. So yeah, you knew, or at least the audience there knew the type of comedy that she was going to provide. Not politically correct, of a certain persuasion. I like the types of jokes that she tells. Not necessarily her jokes, but, you know, it's similar subject material, okay? Why has it been a year of girlhood and still no tits? That's day one, okay? Chrissy Mayr told the crowd at Hyena's Comedy Club over the weekend, referencing the gender-affirming top surgery. No, it's called the tit job. Just fucking call it what it is. If I'm transitioning to a dude, day one, I'm getting a cock, and I'm getting the biggest one you can find. Like, go into the back room, get me something black, okay? She quips the laughter. Hilarious. Very funny. Why no tits for Dylan? I don't understand, the comedian added. Because he's a man, the audience member heard responding. Because he's a man, Mayr replied in agreement. Yeah, of course. Because, okay, just fucking hypothetically speaking, okay, back in the cut, guys would always say, hey bro, if you could be a chick for a day, what would you do? Oh, I just sit at home and play with my tits all day. Like, okay, that was always, some variation of that would always pop out whenever that hypothetical would. So yeah, it makes common sense. Like, it's a well-structured joke. It's something that everybody can relate with, especially the guys that are in the crowd. And it's like, oh, okay, that totally makes sense. So yeah, plus you wrap it into something that's incredibly topical at this point in time. And yeah, no, it's going to be a winner for the crowd, I would imagine. But the stand-ups bit offended other delicate audience members. If you're that fucking fragile, you go to a place where it's obviously going to be jokes. That's what it is. And you didn't think the biggest story in the fucking news for the better part of 6 weeks at this point in time is about a tranny, and you didn't anticipate any fucking jokes? Christ almighty, dude. Or bitch. I would imagine that's probably more apropos in this. No, she's a woman, a female scene. Of course. A fucking course. Uh-oh, Mayr claps back. We have one of those. It's all good. We can all have different beliefs. It's okay. Some of us can believe in reality. Not bad. Not bad. Moments later, several offended women. Yeah, who cares? Who cares what you have to say? Are seen leaving the performance as Mayr continues her politically incorrect and irreverent comedy routine. Fuck you, transphobe. Imagine going to a comedy club, trying to get your 15 minutes of fame. Probably one of the most relevant touring comedians on YouTube. This was planned. I will guarantee this was fucking planned because, let's be honest, somebody was trying to get their 15 seconds of fame, and I don't really know if it ended up, hitting quite like that. Because Mayor's the one getting the headlines, and you are just these bitches who got offended and are fucking, traipsing out of the comedy club. You just look like a jackass. Is that the best you can do? Mayr hits back to cheers and applause. Yeah, exactly. So congratulations, you stood up against transphobia. I really hope Dylan sees that and puts you on his social media. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.